Hello everybody, this is Mike from MBoxWave.com. Just got in a trade right here on this morning's crude oil. So put my stop right above this swing point. I'll talk about the take profit while I do the analysis. So what I want to go over is the confluence that I saw in this trade setup, and then we'll see what happens. All right, so at the time of this trade, here we are. These are what are the things I noticed. We had, as we're going up here, we had demand come in here in the MBox delta. When you see the price moving up, we had demand, price going up, and then suddenly when we're getting higher highs, demand is gone at this point, right? So that's demand exhaustion. So MBox demand exhausted. All right, and demand is also kind of weak here. Now on the side of supply here in the MBox delta, I saw the initial supply here, and this I'm labeling as renewed supply. I'm going to talk about that. It's renewed. All right, also we had this nice double algo. We had a sell imbalance, minus 26, which means as price was moving up, there was more selling. And we had the stooges here because it also shows demand exhaustion. We went from 40, 23 to minus 26. So we've got the stooges here. So let me get that here. We've got, it's a double algo. Double algo, we got a minus 26 sell imbalance, and we got a stooges sell signal. And I'm sure there's some people thinking, why didn't I get in here at the subthrust? I'm going to go over that because at this time I wasn't sure about the supply. Right at this point, we didn't really have supply here. Kind of evaporated and was not sure what was going on. It's only here where, to me, it seemed that we are now biased in supply. Right? So because we had the initial MBox supply, and here this box is a lot smaller, so it could look like effort no result, but to me it looked like distribution and renewed supply, right? Because demand was exhausted twice. It was exhausted here, and we're also, demand is exhausted for the second time. Demand exhausted again, right? All right. We also see that the cumulative buying, and this is, I like this when it happens like this because it's just steadily decreasing. It's not a violent change. When things happen too quickly, you got to be more careful. This is more steadily. So I like that. It's a steady decrease in cumulative buying. And it goes all the way to the point where it's, it diminishes. Steady decrease of cum buying. Right. And here we, crossed over to selling in the cumulative delta. All right. Let's get that here. All right, so it's still moving. So, look at this. You see this blue box down? That means this is a sell imbalance. So the blue indicates that in this bar price went up, it did, but there's a lot more selling. So this makes our case a lot stronger. What the heck? I'm going to add a position. All right, so now I'm in 20 contracts instead of 10 because I like this sell imbalance here, and I'm going to get that. So we got an MBox sell imbalance. So it's just more points of confluence are starting to appear after my trade. That's why I decided to add this position. All right. And let's go to the pace. So we had a lot of pace of offers, but once it got to the top, it just, see, it's diminishes. The pace of offers diminishes. All right, and at the time we took the trade, the pace of the bids are in control. So even though this is a lot higher and this is not as high, we got to check who's in control, right? So, if you look at this, and this here, we see that the pace of bids are in control. All right, so I like that. All right, and I kind of wanted to go over something that I do sometimes. Maybe it's not always apparent because I don't show this necessarily. But like if you look at these waves up and down here, right? Now it doesn't look that strong in the wave supply, minus 44, minus 22, minus 1. See, this doesn't look very strong, but to me, it looks like ease of movement, and I'll get into that. And then we had the minus 26 sell imbalance. So, for example, if I, draw a box, around basically all these numbers, right? If I draw a box around all these numbers, we got like minus 90 something, right? Compare it to these two. If you add these, that's like 63. So we've got over minus 90 here if you add all these. So, that's indicative of wave supply. If you sum up all those numbers, we have wave supply. Right? And do this, since it's in a range, see it goes when it's in a range, I like to do this trick where I sum up the numbers to see, which side has more pulling power. And if we do that, we'll see it's the wave supply, right? So if somebody was wondering, what about this spring? What about this buy stooges? I'd say, okay, what about it? But you don't have the confluence on the side of demand, right? We had demand getting exhausted. Again, it's getting exhausted. We have the supply renewed. Cumulative buying is decreasing, so you don't have really a case to go long here or here. All right. So we're going to count the points of confluence soon, but so I set my target. Here. It seemed reasonable. This is the place where demand just started, right here. So wherever demand or sell starts, we can expect it to hit some friction, probably somewhere in this blue price box. And I just set it where I did because this was level of support, this was level of resistance. So it had like 2 points where, resistance became support. We had a lot of demand here. Seemed like a good place somewhere in the middle. So that's where I put it. All right, so let's count the points of confluence. So we got the double algo, minus 26 sell imbalance, Stooges sell. That's 1, 2. We also had a double algo here, even though I didn't trade it, but I'm going to give that a point because it's showing us the pulling, which side is pulling. So this, the sellers are pulling down, so that's 3 points. We've got all this wave supply. If you count up all these numbers, it's 4 points. We had the MBox demand exhausted. On a higher high, there's less demand. That's 5. It's exhausted a second time. That's 6. We have the initial MBox supply. That's 7. Renewed supply here. That's 8. The sell imbalance we don't count because I didn't see this at the time of the trade, but that's the reason I put an add-on, right? So that's important, right? So when you see more confluence, that's when I usually do an add-on. So far we got 8 points. Steady decrease of cumulative buying, that's 9. Crossover to cumulative selling, that's 10. We had the pace of offers diminishes, right? That's showing that, you know, the demand becomes weak, and we had no demand here, so that's 11. And pace of bids and control, so that's 12. It's 12 points of confluence. So when looking at the setup like that, it looks like a strong setup. It looks like price is pulling down. We're already $8,500 in profit. We just have a little more to go. And I guess I'll put the record on pause. So who knows if it's going to correct or zigzag or how long it's going to take. So I'm going to put the record on pause and come back in a little bit. All right, so we're just back. We just hit the profit level. So I got $10,900 in profit, almost $11,000 in profit. Let's get the order fills on. All right, so that was the first position. Second position happened around the same place, you know, price area, and here's where we're out, right? So one of the things I see here, and maybe somebody's probably going to be wondering about it, what about this, right? So I did see this, but I decided to keep my take profit, you know, and, you know, let the take profit take me out of the trade. So this looks like a lot more supply coming in here. And the cumulative selling is expanding. But what I didn't like was, you know, the box size of this, right? It's relatively small size compared to how much selling. So I don't know if there's going to be some, you know, absorption here. And, you know, I hit my daily goal anyway, so I thought, okay, I'll be out, you know. Because, you know, we had this box, which was relatively small, but we had, compared to it, a good amount of selling. And to me, it looked like, you know, supply was coming in before price got marked down. But now that it's happening again here, see, I would have expected the price movement to be greater for this amount of supply. And since it's not, it almost looks like effort, no result. But, you know, we'll have to, it would be confirmed if you see the price kind of range after this. But, you know, I'm done for the day, so I'm not going to be looking at that situation really. But anyway, so we had a lot of confluence, 12 points. Always look at the points of confluence, see which side has more pulling power. And almost 11 grand in profits. I'm very pleased with the trade today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.